My dear students, now we are going to discuss one of the topic in your the physics for which you are waiting for your the long period, and the name of that topic is your the magnetism. When the name is your the magnetism is coming, you must have heard some other names with the ending of your the 3 letters of the word of magnetism. So, magnetism, magnetism. So, last 3 letters, that is your the ISM, ism. Likewise, the ism, some terms you must have learned, and you must have at least heard that one. One is your the Hinduism, casteism, Naxalism, likewise so many terms are there. So, what is its actually meaning? Magnetism, let us now forget about the word of your the letter of the ISM. Let us now come for your the magnet. Magnet. You must have heard the name of the magnet, and you have the experimental by taking your the magnet as the one of the component, like a boy or the girl of the year of the 5 to 6 years, they also know the what is your the magnet. So, how this magnet being your the developed, and from where it being generated, or from where it being discovered, that we are going to your the discuss. So, what is the word of, why the word is the magnet, not your the magnet or your the calnet, why it is your the magnet. So, everything has its the history. So, let us now go to know what is your the history behind your the magnetism or the magnet. History behind your the magnet. So, magnet means when it come from your the Western Asia, there was a country name is your the Lydia, where a city is present, city was present known as Magnesia. The city name was your the Magnesia, which is now you will find in your the Turkey. Now it is in the Turkey, and this idea when came, that is in the year of 600 BC. So, 600 BC, now it is your the 2021. So, nearly 2681 years back, this idea being came to your the man. So, how this idea being your the generated? So, this idea was first taken by your the Greek persons. So, there was a seabed, and while they are going, they are using a shoe. At that time, the shoe is not made of by likewise the today's rubber or the sponge, etc. That is made of the wood, and that woods being your the taken together, or their shape being made by using your the nails. So, means this nail is your the iron material. So, while they are going with their the sheepherds or the goats or the cows, etc., with their collections, who are taking them, they are known as the sheepherds. So, they are using your the shoes, that is that shoes at some places they feel that someone is your the attracting to their foots, and they came to know that under the earth there are the some stones are present, and when that stones are taken out from that position, and the same shoe being your the taken towards that one, that shoe is your the attracted. Or someone is also saying that the shepherds have here the stick, a long stick, and that long stick's two ends are wounded over here the iron ring, and while they are putting that sticks over here the surface, someone also feel that that stick being here the attracted towards your the earth, and by digging at that position they found that some stones are present, and towards that stone when that stick being here the taken, that is attracted. So, they came to know that that stone has some character due to which such type of the substances are attracted towards that one, and the place from where this being your the that feeling was made, that name was your the magnesia, and the material means the stone that was given as your the magnetite. That's name given as your the magnetite, and which is nowadays the chemical name or the symbolization name of your the iron, and which is your the Fe2O3. So, that is the history how that word of your the magnet being your the came. And though we came to know that towards that magnet, if some irons are being your the taken, they are attracted, not for your the alls, for your the iron or your the steel, likewise these substances are taken, they are attracting towards that one. So, the character or the behavior or the properties of that magnet where it to be discussed, that branch is known as your the magnetism. Means the magnetic properties to be analyzed, in which branch or the behavior of the magnet or its a working process of the magnet where it to be analyzed, that one is known as the magnetism. Likewise, your the naxalism means the works which are done by your the naxals, then that is known as the naxalism. The casteism, regarding your the caste system, what is your the going on, that is your the casteism. Like your the Hinduism, for the behavior or the nature or the character of the Hindu where it to be or the noticed, then that is known as your the Hinduism. Are you clear to my students? Like your the ism letters where you must come to a conclusion that it deals with the behavior or the character of that word without of your the ISM. Without ISM, that is the Hindu, the behavior of the Hindu. Without ISM is the caste, means your the caste system. Without ISM, that is the Naxal, that is your the Naxalism. And without ISM is your the magnet, that is your the magnetism, that branch. And the magnetite which being your the discover from this earth, that is your the natural magnet. That is your the natural magnet, means it is given by your the nature, that is your the natural magnet, which are your the very low characteristics of the magnet it exhibits. Not your the properly. Suppose you will dig a stone of the magnet, you cannot magnetite, you never say that the whole one to be your the magnet. Likewise, after the processing, a small one will behave as your the magnet, but not your the whole one. So, this natural magnet and the man is made another type of the magnet, that is your the artificial magnet. Artificial magnet, where the nature is providing that thing is not your the purely of that character. Suppose we are getting the gold, means the earth is providing the gold. The gold is not made in your the trees, the gold is not made in your the companies, that is being your the given from the earth. But the material from where, the elements from where the gold being your the enhanced or the gold being your the make it its the original form. Suppose you will take such amount, that whole one is not your the gold. some of its the byproducts or the nature with the other materials with it. Likewise, your the aluminum. The aluminum is not made in this universe. It comes from your the bauxite, and under processing we are getting the aluminum. So this the magnet property which we are to be discussed now later. So that magnet is your the natural magnet, but that has your the very low power. But another type of the magnet which we are already creating nowadays, that is your the artificial magnet. So that artificial magnet can be of your the two types. One is called your the permanent magnet, another one is your the temporary magnet. So one is the permanent magnet, second one is your the temporary magnet. Therefore, my students, we now take a small idea about your the magnetism. That idea first you are the developed by using your the natural things, and that natural things which we obtained from a definite place, according to that place name of the magnesia, the name of your the magnet being your the designed, and that magnet which first discovered, that is your the natural one, and which has your the low characteristics or the low powers. But now we can develop your the another type of the magnet, that is your the artificial magnet. So we are developed your the another type of the magnet, that is your the artificial magnet. So let us now go what we discuss. It is means the magnetism. It is the study of the magnetic field and their effect of your the materials. Suppose a magnet is there, we are saying that the X is the magnet, so it must have its the some property and its the effect, and that branch is known as the magnetism. The effect is due to the unbalanced spin of the electrons in atom. So the question comes, sir, why it behaves as your or the makes or the attracts your the ionic type of the substance, that we will discuss now. So that is your the effect is due to your the unbalanced spin of your the electrons. It is already observed in every day from the simple magnet to your which attracts your the nails and the other metals to the cassette tapes to your the magnet driven trains. You know, my dear students, like the using of the magnets nowadays, the trains are also in your the motion, means the trains are also the flying, which is called your the monorail system. In Bharat, you are getting your the bi-rail systems, but in your the foreign countries you can have your the monorail, only one rail, and that is your the magnetic properties used there. In terms of the applications, the magnetism is also one of the most important field of the physics. Large electromagnets are used to pick up the heavy loads. The magnets are used in such a devices in your the motors and your the loudspeakers. Magnetic tapes means the cassettes which are using or the discs which are using, that also used by using of your the magnet. So magnetic tapes and the discs are used in your the routinely in your the sound system, in your the video recording equipments, and to store your the computer data. The intense magnetic fields are used, intense magnetic fields are the used by your the one of your the name which is mostly used in your the medical science, that is known as your the MRI, that is known as your the MRI. This M stands for your the magnet. So that is your the magnetic resonance imaging. Magnetic resonance imaging means by using the magnetic field, some image we have to see which is its the maximum resolution. The same thing can you get by your the another process which is your the X-ray, but this X-ray will not provide your the high resolution. Means suppose at your the in very small portions there is some crack, that cannot be detected by using of the X-ray. So, we are first giving the preference for the X-ray. If never by using the X-ray, the photography which you are getting, if something not detected, then it is advised to go for your the MRI. The MRI is giving your the high resolution. That is also one of your the magnets use. Then your the giant superconducting magnets are used in your the cyclotrons. Cyclotron is one of the device by using which a particle's speed can be enhanced according to our desire. As you came to know in your the nuclear physics, that in case of your the fission, a neutron to be your the bomber, and if that neutron to be or the acquiring is to be required some amount of the energy which we cannot provide by your the open hand, then by using the cyclotron its speed can be or the enhanced. In that process also the magnet is your the using. Changing of the magnetic field can ever be or the created in the electric fields. So, these phenomena signifies and understanding utility of the electricity and the magnetism which given by your the James Clerk Maxwell first described in your the 19th century. And the ultimate source of your the any magnetic field, it is nothing but your the electric effect. So, my dear students, we came to a conclusion that a substance which is magnetic in nature, it can has its the properties and it has its the utilities. So, what are the uses of your the magnetism, in which field it is being utilized, we discussed. And if we will go for its the nature of the magnetism. So, from where it is being your the developed, as in your the now a city whose name was your the Magnesia, present in your the Turkey nowadays. So, in the ancient country of your the Lydia in the Western Asia, which is now at that time that's name was your the Minor, now in the Turkey was a city called your the Magnesia. Suppose you will say Bhubaneswar is your the city, but it's the country is your the Bharat. So, if something to be the developed at that time in the Bhubaneswar, we will say that a country was your the Bharat, which is now it is your the India, and a city was that is your the Bhubaneswar. Likewise, a country was your the Lydia at that time, which is now in your the Western Asia of the name of the Minor, which the Bharat now we are saying it is the India, and there is a city in that Lydia, that's name was your the Magnesia according to my example. If that name is your the Bhubaneswar, so Bhubaneswar is the city, the country is the Bharat at that time, and now become it is your the India, but the city is your the same Bhubaneswar. Similarly, that city name was your the Magnesia, but the country was your the Lydia. That country now it become your the Turkey, but the city name as it is of your the Magnesia, and it being first taken by the conceptions of your the that seafared persons which are your the Greek persons. So, the Greeks discovered that certain iron rods found in your the place could attract the other pieces of your the irons, and they called it at the magnetite, and whose chemical composition name is your the Fe2O3. The magnetite is classified as your the natural magnet. As I said, that is your the natural magnet. So, now that natural magnet has its the less intense capacity, therefore, another type of the magnet which is developed, that is your the artificial magnet. So, now we will discuss detail about your the natural magnet and your the artificial magnet. So, let us now first write natural one, another one is your the artificial one. So, natural, which is given by your the earth or this universe, and the artificial which we are creating according to that one. Suppose everything is in the artificial way nowadays it is available. Suppose you will say father and mother. The artificial father and mother is also available in this society. Suppose you will say the Konark temple, which is near the Odisha of the Puri district, the Konark is there. So, the replica of that Konark is also creating in so many places. You can also observe the same things during the Durga Pujas or during the festivals in your the Odisha. The festivals like the Durga Puja in the Kathak, in the Bhubaneswar, some of your the gates being your the made, means the welcoming gates are the creating. That welcoming gates are having the replica of the Indian Parliament, like of the Taj Mahal. On the photography, if we look, that looks like of the Taj Mahal or that looks like of the Jagannath temple, but really that is not your the Jagannath temple or your the Taj Mahal. So, that is your the artificial one. So, the natural and the artificial. The natural one have no definite shape and size. It has no definite shape and size, but the artificial has definite shape and size. Definite shape and size. So, this is its the first point. So, what we are getting from the natural, suppose in your the Odisha, particularly in your the Khorda district or in your the Puri districts, the house are made by using your the stones, but that stones are not in your the naturally it provides the stones, but by using the machines we are making it the pieces and pieces, means we are just making it the artificially according to our the size. So, the natural have your the no definite shape and size, that has your the finite shape and size. Second one, it is your the less intense, it is your the more intense. It is your the more intense, and this is made from your the artificial one. So, this is your the less intense, that is the more intense, and this artificial we divided into your the permanent and your the temporary. Permanent and your the temporary. This permanent one is made from hardened steel or some magnetic alloys like cobalt steel, etc. These are of your the made of your the hardened steels, but this temporarily one is your the made of your the this is the hardened, that is the soft steel. This is the soft steel, and this one is its properties, its intense capacity, its intense capacity is too high, but its capacity, its intense capacity, its intense capacity is low. And third one is it used in ear cords and moving coil loudspeakers, and this is used in generator, motor, etc. So, this is temporarily means temporarily, if something being your the magnetized, if just you hit it, it will lose its the magnetic properties. So, therefore, we will say that it is temporarily one, but those who are the permanent, that to be the exist for your the years together. So, that is your the permanent one. So, either it is the permanent or your the temporary, that are your the magnets. So, every magnet must have its the properties. If it is a permanent one, it can attract towards your the steel, towards your the iron, etc. If it is temporarily, it also the attracts. But what are the properties of your the magnet? Next we will discuss the properties of a magnet. Can you say what are the properties of the magnet, or can you think overing that what the magnet is making? Generally, we know the two properties of that one. One is it's the directive property, second one is it's the attractive property. These two things we know very easily. Means directive property means, suppose you will take a magnet, means the magnet are the permanent or the temporary magnet. Generally, which we are using in your day to day lives, that are of your the temporary magnet, and that temporarily or the permanent, they are of your the artificials. And can you say what are the artificial magnets names? One is your the bar magnet, not Bouro magnet, that is your the bar magnet. What is your the bar? Bar means it is your the length, having your the less width, but your the more length, that is known as your the bar magnet. One is the bar magnet, horseshoe magnet, then your the magnetic needle, like type of your the magnets, but generally we are using your the bar magnet, and we will discuss either it is the bar or the horseshoe or the magnetic needle, means which are saying the compass needle, and what type of the properties they will exhibit. According to that, we know generally of your the directive property and the attractive property. As you came to know that either it is your the artificial one or your the natural one, it is commonly a magnet, and that magnet is of your the two types. One is the permanent and the temporary. The permanent temporary factors can be your the artificially divided as your the bar magnet or the horseshoe magnet or the magnetic needle. Whatever may be that magnet that has its the properties, one of the properties is the directive property and your the attractive property. So, directive property means what? It to be or the directed in a definite direction. Suppose you will take a bar magnet. Suppose this is your the bar magnet, and this bar magnet to be or the suspended freely, and after some time it will come to a rest, and it will always indicate to a particular direction. Suppose this is a bar magnet, and I just make it to your the oscillate. After oscillation, it will directed suppose in this position, and during after coming to this position, suppose it will take here the 10 oscillations. If I will give the more force, suppose it will make here the 20 oscillations. After the completion of the 20 oscillation, it also directed along here the same direction, and that directions to be here the north, and another one is here the south. So, two ends, this will be its north, it always directed towards the north, and if it is here the south, this end is always directed towards the south of this geographical area. Therefore, by taking here the magnet, we can locate in which way we are moving. So, that is the use of here the magnet, means it gives you the directive property. It always show the two directions, which is your the north and the south of this your of the magnet. And second one is your the attractive in nature. Suppose towards this magnet some iron fillings to be the taken, then that iron fillings are to be the attracted. But where it to be the attracted? Suppose this is your the bar magnet, and you have the iron fillings, and inside the iron filling, suppose we will hide that magnet, and after taking that magnet, you will find that that iron fillings are to be attracted at the ends of the magnet slightly inside to that one. Means at this position the attraction of these iron fillings will be the more, and at this position the attraction of the iron fillings will be the more, and these two are known as it's the poles. They are known as your the poles because the two are there. So this one, if it is your the N, then that will be called your the north pole, and if that end to indicates towards the south, then that is your the south pole. So it is, if it is N, then this is the north pole and this is the south pole. Suppose not this is your the north side, this is the south, then this will be your the north, whatever it may be, but that poles are not at the extreme portions of that bar magnet. Means if this is your the bar magnet, this side, this line and this line is it's the extreme portions, but inside towards the from the extreme portion slightly inward, from these extreme portions slightly inward, the positions where attraction is more, they are known as the poles, and the distance between these poles is known as the magnetic length. Suppose this name is your the S, this is your the N, then NS or your the SN is known as your the magnetic length. But from this end to this end, suppose this is your the A point, this is your the B point, then AB, or you can say your the BA is your the geometric length. That is the geometric length. So it is the geometry. For this geometry we are saying that is your the bar. Bar means the length will be your the more and its width will be your the less, then that is known as your the bar. In your the houses you are saying this is the bar light, means like of your the small bulb one. Is it the bar? No. The bar is your the that type of the light which is having your the at least your the 3 feet of your the length, but the width of your the 2 to 3 centimeters. So that is your the bar. Suppose you are making your the exercise. In the exercise you know there is a bar exercise, means a bar is there. By using that bar you are making your the up and down positions or different types of the gymnastics you are showing. So that is your the meaning of your the bar. So that is it's the geometric length and this is it's the magnetic length. So which one is the more in its the length? So this magnetic length is less than that of the geometric length. So this magnetic length is equals to, in some books you will say 6/7, in some books you will find 9/10 of your the geometric length. The magnetic length is 6/9 or 9/10 times of your the geometric length. So this north and the south pole, suppose to this bar magnet you will just make it your the 2 pieces. So if you will make it your the 2 piece, suppose it becomes likewise, means at this end was your the south, at this end it was your the north. So for this portion, can you say there is only your the one pole? No. Automatically this point will be it's your the north. And though this is your the north one, this one will be your the south. Similarly, if again you divide it, then that will again behave as your the magnet. So in your the magnet, a single pole will never to be your the exist. It is your the not of your the monopole. Always it have your the 2 poles. We will discuss that one. Suppose instead of cutting it the vertically, you just cut it in your the horizontally. If you will cut it into the horizontally, this is your the one part and this become your the another part. and this end was your the south, so this is the south, this also show the south. This is your the north, this also show your the north. But what is the difference of that one, and what was the intense capacity of that one? If we will divide it into your the exactly two halves, suppose this is one of that half, this half's intense capacity will be half of this one. So, by taking this idea, sir, why it becomes the half here, for which nature or for which characters that the intense capacity being your the reduces, that is nothing but, though this is a material, every material must have your the molecules, and that molecules have its the smallest form of your the atoms, and every atoms of that material will behave as your the magnet itself. Every atom of that one will behave as the magnet itself, and that molecular magnets or the atomic magnets are always in its the random motion. So, when it becomes your the magnetized, either by rubbing with your the another magnet or by the influence of your the someone, then that molecular magnets are coming in your the definite line. Therefore, their intense capacity is purely depends upon the number of the molecular magnets it contains, and they aligning in a particular direction. So, when we divide it here the horizontally into the two parts, the molecular magnets numbers are here the reduces. If that numbers is reduces in exactly of your the two parts, then its capacity will becomes here the half. And regarding to that one, we will discuss, time will take, it will discuss how it behaves as your the magnet. And it came to your minds, we will go for to discussing to that one, we will go for its the molecular theory of the magnet. So, this indicates that every material must have its the molecular magnets in nature. So, as per in your the screen you are seeing that it is now believed that the magnetism is due to the spin of the electrons within your the atoms. Means, as I said that the molecules have your the atoms, and the atoms in your the atomic structure, at the center there is a nucleus, and around the nucleus the electrons are your the revolving. If the electrons to be or the revolve around the nucleus, according to its the orbital positions, the motion of the electrons will constitute your the current. And when the current will be there and your the material medium is there, as per of your the electromagnetic inductions or your the magnetic chapter in your the current electricity, we know that whenever a current will flow through your the certain one, it behave or it produces your the magnetic field. So, that is the reason due to which it behaves as your the magnetic in nature. So, it observed that the magnetism is due to the spin of the electrons within your the atoms. Spin of the electrons, spin means the rotation. So, rotation and the spin, they are of the different things. For the rotations it to be or the rotate, but for the spin at the same position it will rotate, then it will move ahead, at that position to be rotate, then it will go ahead. So, that is known as it's the spinning one. So, when the electrons are here the revolving and we applied some external force, the motion of the electrons not only in your the motional way, that also gives you the spin. So, that motional electrons and the spin of the electrons, they produces your the magnetic field. Therefore, that substance is your the magnetized. So, as per your the diagram you are seeing that at the center there is your the nucleus. So, inside the nucleus the electrons are revolving. So, when the electrons are your the revolving, they are producing your the magnetic field, and for that magnetic field it observed that it always goes from your the one end to your the another end, and it starts from your the north pole and ends at your the south pole. So, the power of the attraction of the magnet depends on the arrangement of the atoms. All the atoms are themselves tiny magnet. As I said, the number of atoms which it contains, every atom behaves as your the tiny magnet, and their collections is known as your the domain. Suppose the domains have your the more number of your the atoms, then its characteristics of the magnetism will be your the more. The magnetic strength is increased if the domains are induced to fall into the line by the action of your the another magnet. If another magnet to be the taken, if that one all align in a line, then they will show you or the give you the more number of your the intense power. Let us now analyze it in your the theoretical way. So, next we will discuss about your the molecular theory of your the magnetism. Next one, molecular theory of magnetism. As you know, the Bohr's theory, Rutherford's theory, likewise the molecular theory of the magnetism. First, it given by Weber. You must have the name of the Weber in your the magnetic effect of the current, Weber, in 1852. Later it was modified by Ewing in 1890, and they show that every molecular magnet will be its the main character of your the magnetism. Suppose this is your the magnet. If it is your the unmagnetized, suppose this is the unmagnetized, this is the material which is not your the magnetized, it shows that suppose these are its the every part of it, everyone means there will be no gap. Suppose this material has such molecules, every molecules, suppose this is a very small part of one molecule, but for your the clearance we are giving you the size of the molecule in your the greater one, but it should be your the very small one, and these all are in its the random motions. In case of your the material, suppose this is the unmagnetized, that random motions to be the came in a definite shape, means one to be the overlap or coincides with your the other. As we came to know that for your the molecular theory, the ideas given by the Weber and your the Ewing, the every atom of that material will behave as your the magnetic particles, means every one to be your the magnetic one. So, this is your the magnetic one, means if it is a one pole, then this is your another pole. If this is north, this is the south, north, south, north, south, north, south. So, they are in its the random motions. It is your the unmagnetized shape, and also you have the unmagnetized shape of likewise of likewise they all are your the unmagnetized. This is also your the unmagnetized. My dear students, this is completely of your the theoretical chapter. The mathematical expression is your the too small. Suppose this is your the another type. Suppose you will take this is your the this type of. Means the north of one and the south of the one being your the meeting at the point. Therefore, the net effect is neutralized, its net effect is neutralized, net effect is neutralized, net effect is the neutralized. So, the overall the substance is never used as your the magnetic property. So, we are saying it is the unmagnetized. But for your the magnetized, the same one to be the magnetized, if all the molecular magnets means these are all your the this is one molecule. So, if this is one pole, then this is the another pole. When a magnetic pole magnet is there, means it has the north and the south, and these are aligned along your the same line, and therefore it is treated as your the magnetized. It is your the magnetized. Means it can happen here the two way. In its the creature, it is your the magnetized, or suppose this is the unmagnetized one and we applied some force. Due to the influence of that force, they came to your the such a way. Then we will say that this unmagnetized one becomes here the magnetized. So, here the question comes, sir, how this being here the magnetized? So, for that one we will go for the modern view. This was your the traditional view, but now we will discuss about its the modern view. Modern view. Modern view is that suppose this is your the atom. According to your the atomic structure, we came to know that the central part of the atom is your the nucleus, and around the nucleus the electrons are your the revolving. Suppose this is your the nucleus and this is your the electron. Suppose the electron is revolving likewise. Electron is a what? It is a charged particle. When the charged particle to be in motion, then it will produce your the electric field. It will produce your the current. Due to the motion of the electron, motion of electron will tends to your the electric current. So, whenever a current will be there, it must have your the magnetic field, and it leads to your the magnetic field. Means due to the motion of this electron, a field is created which is your the magnetic field, as we came to know. Suppose these numbers are your the more, then your the more electric field to be your the will be created. So, as I said that suppose in a particular material the molecular magnet numbers to be your the more, then your the more magnetic field it will be created. So, it particularly depends upon the nature of that material. And another thing is there, this is your the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, the proton and the neutrons are there. Proton and your the neutrons are there. They are also the charged particles. So, this neutron is your the neutral, but the proton is your the charged particles. And due to the influence of that magnetic field, these nucleus also initiates the motion, and that also create your the electric field and your the magnetic field, but that effect is very your the less. Second thing is, suppose this is your the electron's motion, it produces your the current. So, if the current will be there, then there will be the magnetic field. Suppose the current is this way, then what will you see the magnetic field? Means along to that direction of the current, just you rotate your the fingers. The direction of the fingers rotation will be see the magnetic field's direction. Suppose this is the current is in this way, so you have to rotate your the four fingers, current with the four fingers, so the direction will be your the likewise. So this one is your, suppose it is your the another position, so this is in your the this direction. So likewise the magnetic field to be the creating. So here also the magnetic field is the creating. So not only of that of here the motional orbital motion, that is your the orbital motion of electron. At the same time, when some force being given, that orbital electrons are in the spinning position. They are in the spinning way. The electrons are in the spinning way. Suppose this is the electron to make the spin, then it will go to another, then it will make spin, then it will go to another, then it will go. So likewise over here the orbit, it will give you the spinning motion. So that spinning motion will also give you the some electric current. But that electric current which is given by your the spin orbital motion, means that is your the angular momentum. The angular momentum, that factor is your the very, very small. So hence magnetic field, the magnetic field, it being produced due to your the orbital motion of electron with the spin motion of electron. These to be or the added, orbital motion and the spin motion. These orbital and the spin motion, out of which these orbital motions, electrons orbital motion is your the very, very negligible factor. Therefore the orbital motion of the electron only produces your the magnetic field. Hence we will say that the motion of the electrons takes the vital role for the creation of your the magnetic field. If it is in your the uniform magnetic field, suppose it produce your the uniform magnetic field, then the field lines to be your the in straight way with your the definite interval of the separation. Then this is called your the uniform. That uniform may be due to the lines of force either to your the inward or to your the outward. If it is in your the inward, then they to be represented by your the cross marks, and if it is your the outward, then they represented with your the dots. Inward means likewise of the inward, outward like of your the outward. They all are produce here the magnetic fields, but these magnetic fields are only due to your the motion of your the electrons. So though the electric field is creating, electric field means due to your the electric current, the electric current never to be or the divided. Though the electric current is never to be or the divided, hence a magnet with monopole never exists. Either you clear, my students? As I said that if a magnet is this north and south, it to be the divided, automatically the south to be the created here, automatically the north to be created here. The reason is that this magnetized is only due to the motion of the electron inside that particle, and that creates here the electric current, and current never to be the divided. So, though the current never to be the divided means the monopoles never to be the exist. Everywhere in case of the bar or the horseshoe there should be the two poles. Thank you very much.